All right, everybody, welcome to the Get Your Ass Up podcast. Today, I am super excited because I got one of my favorite players of all time sitting in front of me. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Washington Redskins fan. And this is one of the best players that, I can remember in the last 30 years. One of the great running backs, number 26, Clinton Portis, man. Appreciate you coming to the podcast, brother.
Man, appreciate you having me, man. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute, so
yeah, man,
hopefully it's everything we was looking for.
Bro, man, you personality, talent, everything across the board, man. I'm talking about you had the it factor. It's a lot of people that get on the field that they might be good at the sport, but they really kind of have dry personality. They don't know how to really connect with the fans, and you had an amazing ability to really take your personality and your game to levels that most people couldn't ever do. I just was a big fan of not only the work, but how you entertained as part of your game. What was that? Like, how did you get to that space?
Man, what's crazy is I was really shy. If you knew me, then of course you knew my personality. But if we didn't have that relationship, I used to be really shy. Once I got in the room, if I didn't know people, I would be really shy. Then we got in the car wreck. We got in the car wreck at the University of Miami. Myself, Jared Payne, Clint Hurt, the D coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. And after we got in that car wreck, it was just one of those moments that it scared you so much. Like, man, like imagine I would have passed away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how would people look at me? Like, people wouldn't, So it was one of those, like, just wake up and start to enjoy. So I got in the car wreck. That's where the scar came from.
Oh, shit.
We all got thrown out of the car. And from that moment on, it was just like my personality, my, just everything about it, my confidence, everything. Dog, when you get a scar across your eye, you're like, man, I'm messed up. Like, you lying on the highway and it bothers you. But then once you learn how to embrace your scars, like the scars of story, as well as any other scar on my body, or when you learn how to embrace it, personality, all that stuff just come out.
Man, I never knew you was even in the accident.
A
So
lot of people did.
Yeah, let's. I just want to touch that just for a quick second. So you get into this accident. When was that? At Miami?
Yeah, it was the year we won, 2001. Actually, it was fan day in Fort Lauderdale. So running backs Coach Dunny Solinger, the legendary Dunny Solinger, me and JP jump in the car, and he told us to put on our seatbelts. And, we grab our seatbelts and let them go. And it was just, I knew it was going to happen. That's what's crazy. I knew it was going to happen. I felt like I accepted it. I faced death, and it was like I accepted death at that age. And from that point, I think it scared me so much because I wasn't even scared. I knew this was going to happen, and I didn't get out of the car. I stopped Philip Buchanan from getting in the car, and I still got in. Like I had told Phil, ride back with us. And once he got ready to get in the car, I was like, nah, dog, like, we'll link up later. And he was looking at me like, why in the hell you tell me to get in the car? I'm like, dog, we'll link up later. And like I said, we all grabbed our seatbelt, let it go. Everybody let their seatbelt go at the same time. Coming down 95 South right before you hit US 1, the downtown exit, we were in the wrong lane. Tried to jump over to go US 1. We were behind a van. He tried to jump over another lane, and the car was like in the blind spot braking. Fishtail threw us all out. So, but that was looking back, that was like a moment that changed me, because up to that point, it was just like, nah, I talk to who I talk to, and I don't want to know nobody else. And then you just get that personality or that confidence, like, man, I'm gonna be me. Like this shit don't last long.
Yeah.
So started being me.
That's what's up. Let's talk about, man, you got like this incredible story. University of Miami, but I know it started way before then. Like I want to know, like, where's Clinton Portis from, first and foremost?
Man, I'm from Laurel, Mississippi. So
Mississippi boy from the SIP.
I'm from the SIP, man. And that's another thing. That's another effect. growing up in the SIP, like you gotta know how to crack jokes, you gotta know how to jaw, you gotta know like your confidence gotta be there. You know, people sleep on us country folk. I'm from Laurel, Mississippi. I grew up in Gainesville, Florida. So I moved to Gainesville going to the 7th grade, and when at that stage, that transition, for 2 years, 3 years, I sat in the house, 7th grade, 8th grade. I didn't want to make friends. I didn't want to be around nobody. I just used to sit in the yard and shoot ball. And then, I get with, I formed my crew when we hit high school, and it was up from there.
What inspired you to get into football? Like, is it somebody in the neighborhood? What was your growing up, your inspiration?
I mean, growing up, as a kid, I knew I had talent. I knew I was fast. We used to race in the street and play throw up tackle.
Man,
all
you
the
lived
stuff
in
the kids
Mississippi,
don't do
man.
now.
Y'all ain't had no streets, man. Y'all was running on the back
We
roads.
had concrete roads. I'm talking about with the rocks in it.
Asphalt, the rock road.
Asphalt, that you playing football in the street and you let me get over here so they can tackle me into the grass, because if he tackle me on this concrete, and I'm gonna have to bust him up, So it was one of them just the upbringing, man. Like kids, I think if you look at sports today, that's what's missing in kids. That throw up tackle mentality, that determination. Like, now you know how tough you had to be to go and grab that ball, and there's 9 people standing around just waiting to tackle you. Nobody got on pads. It's a kid that's too big and too old that's out here playing. Like, dog, you got to be brave to do that kind of stuff. And I think kids missing that. But just that Mississippi mindset and going to Florida, like, I was slow. Everybody looked at me like I was slow. Like, you talk slow, you do this. And it was just one of those that built up anger as a kid. Like, man, these people trying me. Like, I watch kids today, and it's like cool, or it's like friendly when y'all playing, but you not the first pick. Like, you still happy to be on the team. Like, dog, you didn't pick me first.
Chip
like,
on my shoulder.
You didn't pick me first,
Yeah.
man. I'm about to dog y'all. And that was our mentality. Like, I would say if you talk to anybody in Gainesville, Florida, and they said, hey, the best athletes that came out of Gainesville, Florida were probably, at that time, Clinton Portis, Rashad Durant, Chandre Garrison. All of us went to middle school together. And they were going to the high school. They were going to the black high school in Gainesville, East Side. And I wanted to compete against them. I didn't want to join them. Like, I just felt like, bro, I did this for 2 years. Melvin McCray, basketball. Orion Green played with the Celtics, basketball. Like, bro, we had work at our middle school. And it was just one of those, like, as a kid, remembering, like, man, I want to go to this school so I can compete against the best. Not I'm going to the school to join them. And knowing that I had that mentality so early in life, I was always open to the competition. Like, I looked forward to it. Like, people like, man, how are you in the backfield with Willis and Frank and James Jackson, Najee Davenport, and you just were so confident. Man, I've been having to deal with being confident my entire life. I've been the underdog. So when it got to them, it was just one of those, I'm ready for the competition.
Let's talk about that, man. You brought up your University of Miami backfield, which was crazy as hell, man. You guys were stacked. What was the experience like going to the University of Miami? You guys were dominant college for many years. You come in with you guys have so many Hall of Famers. I mean, just recently we seen Devin Hester just get recently and Andre Johnson. You guys have a Hall of Fame breeding ground in Miami.
Yeah, man. For one, shots out there to Hester and Big Dre, man. Me and Big Dre came in '99. Like, we were a part of the class that really solidified and changed the University of Miami back to prominence. So to see them go in, like, man, when I saw Dre went in, that shit gave me chill bumps. Like, it was the same with E. When I was with E when he got the call, that shit gave me chill bumps. Like, when it's your brother, like, it's your real brother. Like, we got it out of the mud. Like, we came through the struggle together, and you see them getting the rewards. Reggie and Frankie G, they coming up, and they're going to go in as well soon. But when you see it, you like, man, we work together. Like we grinded together. Like to see that, being able to see Reed, being able to see Edge, like, man, them people was cold gangsters, and they still cold gangsters. So you just got to be proud of it, like because you know the work that came. All them dudes, Swayze. When I see all of them, the first thing that come to mind is Coach Swayze, University of Miami, at strength and conditioning. No, that's all Swayze work. Like you talking about Edge with Swayze, Gore, Dre, Hester, Reggie, dog, all this work is Swayze. And for him to, I hope he's sitting back and looking at his resume like, man, I did that. Like I was a bad motherfucker, because you still got Tanner, you still got Shockey, myself. Like it's still a lot of work out there that don't get this Hall of Fame, resume that we should.
What was the competition like going into practice when you got that type of talent with everybody?
Crazy, I think if you talk to guys from the University of Miami, and it was great because it never leaked out. If you talk to guys that went to UM, they know, like, we gonna knuckle up. Somebody on defense having a bad day gonna bust somebody up on offense, which it was normally the Weaver twins. Somebody gonna bust somebody up, and it's gonna be turned up from that point. And then we already knew the consequences that was coming with it. Like, after you finish fighting, just jog to the sand pit. Like, shit, I know we're finna get disciplined, but I can't let Buddy go out.
Speaking of the sand pit, interesting story. 2007, I come to the U. DJ Williams brings me to the U to work out with him. I get in there and I get starstruck instantly, man. Ed Reed's in there, Reggie Wayne, all the guys are like in here working out, and they take me to the sand pit. Nigga.
Throw up everywhere.
Oh shit. Man, oh man.
The sand pit was legendary, man. And it's crazy because forever that was our safe haven, that was our secret. And I feel like once we exposed it, it was great for Swayze because you had so many people like seeing the success of Miami guys and wanting to come. So I understand why Swayze had to make a business decision and begin to let outsiders come. But when it was just ours, like, it was so precious,
I remember Coach Swayze was the one that actually let me in.
Like, bro, when it was just ours and the outside world didn't know, it was just like you gotta hear us talk about it, and no one could see it.
Yeah.
Like once other guys started coming in and seeing it, they would take it and start giving pieces, so it wasn't as sacred as it was. But before those doors opened, when it was just only the U, oh man, that's the best stories, the best workouts.
Give me your favorite memory out of being at the U, national championships, all your things that have happened over your career. What happened that you could say was one of your most memorable moments?
It's hard to lock in one moment because I could give you two. I probably give you two or three that kind of sum up my University of Miami experience. I think my first game ever, we played Ohio State in the kickoff classic, and we get to New York. Najee Davenport go down, so James Jackson played the entire game. Because behind Najee, it was myself and Jared Payne. That's our first ever college game. Like, and I'm assuming Solly felt like we weren't prepared and ready for it yet. Like, we're young pups. But I can remember sitting on the sideline, like, crying. I got tears in my eyes. Like, I'm so mad that you trying me. Like, you're not going to put me in the game. Like, you got me fucked up. Like, and James Jackson out here playing the entire game. And Dre put his arm around me and like, dog, this our first game. Your time gonna come. And just that reality of where we went from in my first game to my fourth game, I got my first start. But my first game, I remember Dre putting his arm around me because I'm crying on the sideline because you're not putting me in. Like, I know I can contribute. But then my sophomore year, we beat Florida State. I was injured. We beat Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and we knew that we got cheated, because we should have been champions that year. And after that Sugar Bowl, I wouldn't, most people look at the turnaround like, okay, these guys are going to take a break. But I think our entire team was back in Miami probably within 5 to 7 days of us beating Florida in the Sugar Bowl with that determination, like knowing we got cheated and we slipped up, but it won't happen again, and just to be able to experience that motto, that offseason, that workout, because Coach Davis left, and, we had to come together as a team, go to Paul D, like, yo, man, we won't. They was talking about bringing in Barry Alvarez. I'm like, dog, I don't want to run the ball 30 times a game, like that wasn't the type of running back I was. So I'm like, bro, we need to go get Coach Coker. We need to keep Coach Coker. So a bunch of the guys got together. We go up to Paul D, like, yo, man, we want Coach Coker. And knowing that what we asked for when they finally gave us Coach Coker, our team became so close because we knew, like, we laid it on the line and made a decision. And the coaches, like, after that, like, dog, those coaches didn't have to do nothing. We policed ourselves. Like, the only disciplinarian was Swayze. Like, you'll go turn yourself in. Like, dog, I did it. Like, let's go. Like, let's get this shit over with. Like, you not going to break me. Like, oh, dog, you got 25 110s. Fuck it, let's go. Like, let's get it out of the way. So that mindset, seeing an entire team adapt to that mindset where you didn't have to worry about guys sneaking, guys cheating, because we saw what it did when we got cheated out of the national championship. Yeah. So that run from Coach Davis leaving to winning the national championship, even coming back when we lost the Fiesta Bowl, like, that run was crazy. That run was unreal, and to be a part of it, like, to see the groundwork that came with it, that was probably one of my fondest memories. It wasn't even the on field. It was the competition that we had in the off season, off the field, and how turned up it was. Like, bro, the competition was unreal. Like, you talking about walking out and telling Ed Reed, like, dog, line up. Like, line up, I don't see you. Like, and dog, this Ed Reed. And then Philip Buchanan. I think Philip Buchanan was probably the most underrated guy on our team, but one of the biggest parts to our success. So being able to see those guys and know everything that we did as a team, Jonathan Vilma, me dogging Vilma, and him having that fire to just like, nah, this gonna make me better type, and then seeing what Vilma developed into DJ Williams,
linebackers.
Seeing what those guys developed into. And then one of my other favorite players was always Vince Wilford. Like, Vince was an animal. Vince was an animal. So we had so many
Y'all was
guys.
so fucking stacked. That's crazy, man.
We had so many guys that played so many roles. And, like, people sleep on Roscoe Parrish. Like, they don't give Roscoe what he brought to the table. They don't talk about it. But Roscoe was a dog. Frankie G was a dog. We was just loaded. In the competition, when you get to see these young dudes, like, bro, that man gonna contribute. He gonna help us win, and then we get to go out and celebrate as a team. Like, we just finished fighting, and now, like, all right, this got to be over with. We're going to go to this little bar over here. Big Mac got the bar set up. We're going to go party as a team.
B Mac, to this day, I've never seen anybody party like that man in my life.
Never will. The next person to try going to be dead.
Listen, man, every time I've ever come to Miami, even as a young guy, 2007, 2010, 2012, every time I went into Miami, B Mac was somewhere, and you would see him come out of like a long like Sprinter van or whatever with 30 women.
I don't know how he did it.
The most amazing shit I've ever seen. Every time I went to Miami.
Hey.
Next question. I got to ask you this. I need Clinton Portis' top 10 University of Miami players all time. Any order. You don't have to give me in order, but your top 10 University of Miami players.
Shit, I got to give you the first three. Mike, Sap, Ray, you got to give them their just due. I think
I heard you said Mike.
Michael Irvin.
Okay, Michael Irvin.
Yeah. Then you got Jim Kelly, Edge. What's that? 5.
That's 5.
Reed, Sean T. That's 7. Frankie G. 8. Jerome Brown, 9. Like, I haven't even gotten to an hour lineman or any of that. Like, that's 9 of them. I think Reggie, I think that
That's crazy. Y'all got that much talent that you got to leave some superstars off.
yeah,
God,
I didn't even get to say I didn't even get to say like Dre or Tanner, But I think Reggie had the best hands I ever seen. One of the smoothest route runners, and he gonna get his just due. So I'll put Reggie in it. Then I'm leaving out Hester in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm leaving out Hester. Like, it's hard to like, dog. I'm Lamar Thomas. Like, bro, Lamar Thomas is a college legend. Like, man. I mean, I go with them 10 just because I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have any more slots, but it's loaded.
Let's talk about moving into the draft. You leaving the University of Miami. Now you're in the NFL draft. Give me the process, selecting the agent, where you going to be picked at, and then finally getting drafted. What was that experience like?
Man, it was crazy. Like, I didn't know what the experience was supposed to be. My tour guide for going into the draft was Edge. I called Edge. I sent my paperwork in. I called Edge. I say, man, I'm thinking about going to the league. What I need to do? He said, man, your last 5 games is what matter. If you go look at my last 5 games at the University of Miami, I lit some shit up. My last 5 games, I lit some shit up, and people don't realize, bro. I probably played in about in the 3 years that I was at UM, I probably played in maybe 5 full games. All the rest of them, I was going to look at Frankie G interviews. I always came out of the game at halftime. Always. My rookie year, JJ was a starter, so I didn't get my opportunity until he decided I was going on the field. Sophomore year, I get hurt. My junior year, halftime, I had my numbers. Put Frankie G in, So, I mean, it's just crazy, Like, when you look back in it, bro, I probably played in 5 full games at the University of Miami.
Draft day.
So, I called E. He said, the 5 games. That run was crazy. We win the national championship again. Everybody jumping up, crying, hugging. And I remember Big Dre came and threw his arm around me. Yeah, CP, we finna do it again. Shit, y'all finna do it again. He was like, what? No, y'all finna do it again. I'm out. After the game, I hit Williamson Cadillac. So, hey, get me ready. I'm on the way. Dre's like, yeah. Everybody thought I was playing. I didn't talk to no agent. I didn't understand that process. I went to Williamson Cadillac, picked up my car, on the way.
What kind of Cadillac you get?
Oh, this one.
Escalade.
This one, the Escalade first came out. But the pickup truck.
Oh, okay. The ESV.
This is the first. I had the first ESV to come out. But this is what's crazy. Me and Phil was like this. Phil was my college roommate, Philip Buchanan. So me and Phil was like this. I knew Phil was going to leave. I ordered him a truck. Didn't talk to him or nothing. I ordered 2 trucks, a truck for me, a truck for Phil. I'm driving to Miami. Phil called. What up, bro? What you going to do? He said, what you thinking? I'm going to do whatever you do. Hey, shit, you better meet me at Miami. I'm on my way to sign these papers. Phil come meet me. I said, oh, you got to take me up here to Williamson. I got to pick up my car. He take me to pick up my car. They bring two around. So he looking like, damn, you got both of these? Nah, the white one mine, the black one yours. Yo, I went and picked out this man's car. I designed his car. Ask anybody. I went and picked out his car. He had a white Lumina, and he parked it he parked it in the handicap at Williamson. He probably ain't come back and get it for 6 months, probably 6 to 8 months.
Left it there
before they finally went back and got it. That's how crazy it was. So we leave, and the first person we going to show our truck to was Dre. Dre was gonna leave school. His mama talked him out of it. His mama talking about it. Coach Coker like, man, what y'all gonna do? You know, like, hey, Clinton, hold on, let's talk before. I didn't talk to nobody. Hey, Clinton, hold on before. I said, Coach, man, I couldn't come back if I wanted to. I'm in this truck. He said, well, what about Philip Buchanan? I look out the window. Phil can't come back neither. We scarred, you know. He said, well, have you guys talked to Shockey? Shit, Shockey landed in an hour. You still got a chance. He ain't, he hadn't got there and signed his paperwork.
Damn, I forgot y'all had Shockey too. Sheesh.
So we go to Dre house. Dre see the trucks. Like, we out. Dre was about to declare. His mama pull up before we go and sign the paperwork. Like, baby, just wait. Like, give me one more year, baby. Best decision. Like, I always tell that story because his mom put him in position to be the first Texans into the Hall of Fame ever. If he would have came out with us, I think he had a second-round grade. He waited, had the season that he had, went as a second pick in the draft. So our stories are, like, unreal.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, the NIL is new, right? We got this new situation. You would have probably stayed if it was NIL, right? Or would you have declared? You was already
the NIL is new. So the money that these kids are getting now, like, that's crazy. There's no way I'm leaving school.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm leaving school. I'm going all 4 years. Matter of fact, red shirt me, and then I'm going all 4 years. Then I'm gonna try to get another year. Especially if I'm a quarterback. Like, a lot of these kids are gonna make more money in college than they will in the NFL, and that's crazy. Like, to come out. But I think my issue, I won't even say my issue. Like, how do you take a kid? We already had a problem with athletes, grown-ups not being able to manage money. And now you're creating a bigger one because you're giving it to kids at 17, 18, 19. And they definitely haven't had a course. So it's your legal guard or somebody around you. And in our community, when you become the breadwinner, you're becoming the man of the house. So it's so much pressure put on these kids at this point that it's crazy, But I think them being able to get money, I wish it was a way to say, this is the money you're getting, but for the next 3-4 years, you're only allowed to spend this per month. So they can kind of get on track. Like, and when you leave, whatever your bag is that you accumulated, they turn it over to you, instead of giving you all of it at once. Like, that's your bag, but you got to wait to learn. I think it would help. But I honestly love that kids are getting money. It's just crazy because they haven't done a thing. And you getting all this bag, and a lot of them not gonna pan out. Like, think about somebody like Shador, who had his dad, who was in the position to help him blow up and put him in the position. I think he's got $3-4 million or something, like maybe a little bit more in NIL money. How hard is it you think it's gonna be to? Obviously Prime is his dad, but like, as some of these other guys start getting millions of dollars for their likeness, you think that they're going to be coachable, or you getting more money than you coach? You can't be. And I look at that as the two of the biggest stars in college football were former NFL legends, Marvin Harrison and Prime, and the pressure that their kids are under. Look how different they are. You know, Shador being in his situation, Lamborghini truck, Rolls Royce truck, you know, is stunned. It's like his dad. He's stunned like his daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at Marvin Harrison Jr., quiet
Quiet
under
like his
the
daddy.
radar. But he got it. He was at Ohio State. He had to make a killing,
Yeah.
you know, but you wouldn't know it. He handled his business. You wouldn't know it. And I think it's great for the game, honestly. And those kids, like having to live up to the pressure of what your father did, and then you're doing it your way and surpassing. Like, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is just like Marv. You never heard Marv talk, you know, like you never heard Marv. You felt his effect. He lay down on the field, get up, do it again, and he out, you know. So when you look at a lot of these kids, it's not the kids that actually succeed. It's the ones that's all the pressure that's gonna fail. So it's way more kids that's gonna get money and fail than it is that's gonna get money and succeed. So how do you deal with them?
Going into your draft day experience, what was going through your mind as you watch players get picked and you finally found your home in Denver?
Man, you know, I honestly thought I was gonna be the third pick in the draft. I like.
So you felt coming out you
my
were supposed to be a
heart,
top.
I felt like I was supposed to be top 5. I knew I was supposed to be top 5. And the only thing I could understand was David Carr. You know, the Texans were a new franchise, so of course they're going out to get a quarterback. Julius Peppers, hometown in Carolina, Panthers. You know, so
Salute that you Pep just hit the Hall of Fame as well.
Pep just went to the Hall of Fame too. So both of those guys, I understood. Like, okay, Pep going to Carolina. The Detroit Lions had the third pick. Barry Sanders was gone. I felt like shit. They gotta come get me. You know, like Detroit Lions, or you gotta trade with the Detroit Lions to get me. That was my confidence. I feel like I won a national championship. You seen me as a lead dog with all these dogs behind me in the same room with me. You saw me as a lead dog, and it was nothing I couldn't do. I ran 4.28 for pro day. Bro, I ran 4.28. Nobody ever talk about it. I ran 4.28. Look at my 40
What?
time. Bro, I ran 4.28 40 for pro day.
I didn't know he was that goddamn fast.
It was overshadowed because Phillip went behind me and ran 4.27. I ran 4.28. They clapping. Pow! Phillip ran 4.27. You know, but it was just one of those. I thought I would be the third pick. I remember telling Arthur Blank this and him laughing in my face. I'm in a meeting with the Falcons. Arthur Blank, hey kid, where do you think you need to be drafted? You're not gonna be able to get to me. You got to trade up with Detroit. Denver meeting. Bobby T. Tell you anything. I walk in the Denver meeting, look at their depth chart. Bro, man, it's 12:30 at night. I'm tired. I've been here all day. Y'all got 3,000-yard backs. Terrell Davis, Orlandis Gary, Mike Anderson on your board. You're not drafting me. Like, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. Oh, you tired? You want to get... Yeah, man. Y'all not drafting the back.
So getting drafted by Denver, you was kind of disappointed or what?
Hell no. When you get your name called, you happy.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I felt like I should have been the third pick in the draft. Look at the careers. Yeah, I would say if you had to rewrite that draft class, maybe Pep and Ed Reed, you know, like how do you rewrite that draft class for all the guys that came out? Maybe Pep, Ed Reed in front of me. But so I leave my draft party, you know. I thought I would go to the Falcons. They traded for Warwick Dunn prior to the draft. And then they ended up drafting T.J. Duckett. The Cleveland Browns, Butch Davis, went and drafted William Green from Boston College instead of drafting me. Then we get to the second round. The Panthers took Deshaun Foster.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah, they took from UCLA. I was like, man, fuck this draft. I left my draft party, for real. I left my draft party.
Yo.
Heading to Tallahassee. Like we were going to Kapalua or something. Left my draft party. We going to Kapalua. I wasn't watching the draft. I didn't know what was going on. We riding up 75 going to Tallahassee to party. And it was just one of those, dog, when my name is called, it's up, you know. And we ride. I see that Aurora, Colorado pop up on my phone. I'm like, damn, Aurora, Colorado. Hello? Hey, Clinton, like, this is Denver Broncos. We got Coach Shanahan. It was the GM at the time. What was his name? Damn, it'll come to me. But anyway,
it wasn't Mike Shanahan, though, no?
No, I mean, somebody called and then transferred me to Mike.
Okay.
Get on with Mike. I'm like, bro, like, I'm excited. I still don't even know what pick I am. You know, I think he tell me, like, yeah, we took you with the 19th pick in the second round. I'm like, why you ain't draft me in the first round? he said, man, bro, you were the first back on our board. You know, we're just happy we got you. We didn't think you would, you know, be around. And I'm like, Coach, man, I'm going to win Rookie of the Year. Like, you won't regret this. I'm going to ball out. He's like, man, I just want you to come in and be the best player. We're not worried about accolades. Just come in to be the best player you could be to help the team. I'm like, man, I'm winning Rookie of the Year. Like, yeah, that's good, man, but just let's get to work. So I still didn't know where I was drafted. Still haven't seen it to this day. I've never seen my name called, any of that. Never went back to look or nothing. Go to Tallahassee, party the night away. Shit, Broncos sent a plane to Tallahassee to fly out like the next morning. So fly out to Denver. It was just one of those, get to Denver, like, see some tumbleweed. Hey, man, what the hell? I done came from Mississippi to Florida. And then you get to Denver, and you see tumbleweed crossing the street. I'm like, oh, man, it's crazy. But I was so excited. In that locker room that we had was like the best thing that could happen, because it was a veteran-laced team. And, like, I thought that was the entire NFL. You know, you got Shannon Sharp, Rod Smith, Terrell Davis, and a Big Chester McLaughlin, McCaffrey, Greasy. Like,
Shannon done blew up recently. How has it been? You know,
man,
like, how was
Shannon
it?
Been that way. That ain't like to the Broncos group chat or to anybody that knows Shannon. Shannon been the mouth of the locker room. Like, he was always that way. So for the world to finally see it is like, ha, this dude crazy. Been that way. Shannon and Tick, like, Keith Burns is his real name, but we call him Tick. Shannon and Tick, they were always that way. Like, had the locker room on smash. When you walk in, you better not have no stinking breath. You better not have the wrong clothes on. Your suit better be on point. Oh, they're gonna kill you in that locker room. And then you had so many other personalities, so you had to be on point.
So your rookie season, you coming in the league, chip on your shoulder. You feel like you've been disrespected, and you go crazy.
Man, my rookie season, our first practice, we're in training camp. They call the starters up. They call first team starters. We had 12 people in the huddle. I'm looking at Terrell. Everybody laughing.
Bro, no lie, I did this in college. I already know what you're doing. Go ahead.
Everybody laughing at me. Like, man, Rook, get out of there. Shit, y'all call the starters. Y'all call the first team up. Like, man, get out of there. Stop playing. He better get out of here. And it was nothing personal to Terrell. I think Terrell is a dog.
Mentality.
Been a dog.
It's just a mentality.
But it was just one of those, I had so much built up frustration and anger. Like, man, he got to see me. Everybody else got to see me. If you go and look at those 8 AFC West games that I played in, they were against LaDainian, Priest Holmes, Charlie Garner. Look at the head-to-head in those games. That shit was personal. It was personal. Like those first 2 years in the NFL, I was running so angry because I was an underdog. Like I was an underdog, and I felt like I needed to punish every team that I played against. Like, oh, this team skipped over me. All right, I got something for them. I'll make them regret it. The only team I felt like didn't skip over me were the Washington Redskins. They didn't have a first-round pick. They traded, got Patrick Ramsey in the second round. So that was the only team that I felt like I would play for that didn't pass me over.
That's an interesting story.
Where do I get traded to?
How the hell? Now I'm just tell you as a Redskins fan, that trade broke my heart, but it made me happy at the same time. Champ Bailey.
Another Hall of Fame.
Oh my God. I'm sitting like, we got to get rid of Champ.
Another Hall of Fame. Champ was ready to leave DC, and I wasn't even trying to leave Denver. That's what's crazy. Like it wasn't like I was upset in Denver. I love Denver. You know, it was just a business.
What sparked that?
Pro Bowl, article that was written, come out. Adam Schefter was a beat writer. Wrote an article at Pro Bowl. Like, it's my contract year. I didn't outperform my contract. Was I going to hold out? What was going to happen? I was traded within 3 weeks of that article.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy. I was traded within Pro Bowl, go to Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Peyton Manning, Donovan McNabb, Joey Porter. It was one more person. We're sitting at the bar at Pro Bowl in Hawaii. It's breaking news on ESPN. Everybody like, man, who done got in trouble? Like, what happened? You know, everybody sitting down here drinking Mai Tais. Look up, like, shit, like, who done got in trouble, you know? Portis request trade. Everybody looked back at me. Shit, I looked back, too. Who was Portis? I didn't request no trade. I didn't request no trade. That article broke. Bro, I was traded. I was out of Denver like 4 weeks later.
Do you think that was something that Adam Schefter personally kind of like facilitated? Was that something that the Broncos facilitated? Where did that rumor come from?
I think, well, at the time when I did the interview, I didn't know Adam Schefter wrote Mike's book. You know, I didn't know he wrote Coach Shanahan's books. So I think it was like one of those facilitations that backfired, because when it came time, Coach Shanahan gave me the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? All right, we were trying to pull a card, trying to show you a running back wouldn't get paid this amount of money, but we're ready to pay you. You know, Coach Shanahan was the one who told me my value. I didn't know this. I went in after my rookie year, just in our exit meeting, you know, like, what's up? Like, I done balled out. He said, Portis, like, I could pay you today. Next year, you're going to be right back in here trying to renegotiate. You could be the first back to get $20 million signing bonus. Look, shook his hand. Second year, go crazy, come back in. It was like,
them first couple of years, bro, you was on some shit. We was 1,500 plus.
I was mad, man. I was pissed off at the entire league. And then you got LaDainian.
Did Kansas City and them boys do something personal to you? Because when you played against them teams, boy, good gracious of life.
It was LaDainian. It was Priest. It was Charlie Garner.
So it was the running backs that you want to make sure you prove you were better than.
It had nothing to do with their defense. I didn't even see their defense. It was personal. Like, I got to outperform LaDainian. I got to outperform Priest. I got to outperform Charlie. Like, that's all it was. Like, if I win this personal battle, we win the game. You know, so that's the way that I used to look at football. Like, whatever back, this is when the back had the impact on the game. Whatever back had the best game, that's who team gonna win. So we now traded into DC. I still never forget your first fucking carry. Beautiful.
take it to the crib. I'm like, oh Lord, boy, we got us one now. Oh, we got us one now. Bruh, first play of the game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I remember this shit like I was on the team. House call.
I come to DC, and that shit was like the Wild Wild West. Like, the locker room was nowhere near close. It was like a hierarchy in the locker room. The people that was getting money didn't really deal with the people that wasn't getting money. It was a split locker room. I'm like, in Denver, everybody, you know, hey, Greasy having a party, the entire team show up. Willie Middlebrooks having a party, the entire team show up. Rod Smith having a barbecue, Shannon, you know, everybody was together.
Yeah.
So when I get to DC, it's like I'm walking in like I just joined big dog status, but I'm cool with all the I'm cool with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and you realize like everybody don't fuck with everybody. Like, people see me and LeVar together and like, oh, they big time. They ain't messing with us. I'm like, what y'all talking about? Oh, nah, he getting so much money. I'm like, oh, nah, that ain't me. I don't know about him, but that's not me. I rock with everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So all of the people that wasn't eating, I think when you start to say, hey, dog, you know, whatever you need, come to the house and eat. You know, they like, you invite me to your house? Like, that don't never happen. You know, like, I start bringing everybody together.
Right.
And then I get Sean. You know, we get Sean. We draft Sean. Trade for Santana. Now I got my crew. Like 2 years, I got my dogs. I got Sean and I got Santana. It was up. Like, it was so crazy to flip the locker room. Then you had Chris Samuels. Like, everybody began to blend. So when you talk about leadership, I felt like my role was putting the team together because Chris Cooley was my partner. You know,
yeah, Cooley.
So I got the white
Cooley a
boys
beast.
hanging with the black boys.
Yeah.
Chris Cooley at my pool party. You know, the lineman at my pool party. What is white boy doing? Yeah, shit, that's my homeboy. You know, so to be able to put everybody together and get them involved where we were moving around, you could see the closeness of that team 05 to 07. You know, once Sean situation happened, it changed because Coach Gibbs left. We got the wrong voice in, and that separated that team. Like, that set the organization.
I never cried over a stranger before.
Bro, I hadn't cried.
I cried over Sean like I knew him personally, boy.
Bro, I hadn't cried. I couldn't remember. You know, one of my biggest fears was losing my grandmother, and I lost my grandmother before I lost Sean. I lost my grandmother in 07 as well, and then my best friend mom we lost in 06, in November of 06. So I had a lot of death in a year. You know, I had a lot of death in the year, and I guess Sean just brought it all out. You know, that was like the first time I cried. They was asking me to deliver the speech like I was in Miami. You know, we got on the plane, we went to Miami to be around the family, to be around Sean. I was in Miami when the news broke. So when we came back, it was like they wanted me to talk about Sean, and I'm sitting in front of a room, 7,500 people, men, boohoo crying, like, you know. So I think that moment changed so much. If you look at how that team played, we probably should have won the Super Bowl that year because that's how tight our team was. We went up to Seattle and lost, you know.
Carlos dropped that damn pick.
Carlos Rogers dropped the pick. Then we get the onside kick and throw the ball 3 straight times. We on the 40-yard line. We run the ball, get a field goal. We throw 3 straight incompletions. We had numerous opportunities to put that game away, and we didn't. And we had already beat, I think that was the year, we had already beat Chicago. We had beat Chicago and Pittsburgh that year. So it was just one of those, if we would have beat Seattle, I think we win the Super Bowl. But
If we had Sean, it ain't no doubt about it.
well, the team had came together so much
Around
for
Sean, yeah.
that everybody was channeling their Sean Taylor spirit. So it was people that elevated their game and was playing lights out.
Reed Doughty's no Sean Taylor.
Man, but he elevated his game. He got the max. All of a sudden, you got the max out of every player on the field.
Yeah.
You know, and that, I mean, I think we had a chance, and then Coach Gibbs just couldn't deal with it. Walk away. Greg Williams probably should have got the head
When you say
coaching
Coach
job.
Gibbs couldn't deal with it, what do you mean? Was it
Just health.
Okay.
A lot. Sean passing. It was just a lot on him.
Sean impacted him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Coach Gibbs is a spiritual man and a great man, great leader. But you know, just his health, being at the park all night, trying to win, make sure we were prepared. There was just so much that happened in 07, you know, and then it kind of reminded me of Miami. Butch Davis leave, we keep Coker. Everything was still intact. Coker knew what he had. If we would have stayed in-house, which everybody wanted Greg Williams or Jared Gray, then if we get that, I think it would have been a lot different.
So from a I just want to like really talk about from a you kind of went through your own personal battles, injuries. I looked at your career, and I think you're one of the best backs I seen play from an overall standpoint, running, catching, and blocking, has played in Washington that I can remember. When you hear Hall of Fame, you see all the things that come up. Do you feel like you'll ever get a shot at the Hall? Do you think you're deserving of the Hall? What's your personal opinion? Do you want to be in the Hall?
Man, who don't want to be in the Hall? You know, of course I feel like I'm deserving of the Hall. You know, like that would be a no-brainer if you were to ask me. And you said the injuries. If you look at my career, I played 9 years, right? I played 9 years. I got hurt 3 of those years. The other 6 years, my numbers better than anybody's. 13, 14, 1,500-yard seasons. You see what I'm saying? You got, in 6 years, that was my body of work. I had 6 years to amass 12,000 career yards, almost 10,000 rushing. And we weren't throwing to the backs back then. It wasn't this era of football, the Alvin Kamara, the Christian McCaffrey, you know, where let me get my back in space in this mismatch against the linebacker. Could you imagine me? The first time that I ever seen the mismatch of a linebacker, we were playing Miami. We were playing Zach Thomas. Coach Shanahan told me, if he covers you, I'm taking you out of the game. I think I had like 8 catches for 80-something yards, you know, straight option route, killing Zach Thomas, you know. And then when you look at the head-to-head, you know, playing, to me, if you look at any of my numbers against top defenses, Chicago Bears, New York Jets, Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville Jaguars, Minnesota Vikings, with them Williams,
Brian Urlacher,
like, bro, you look at my stats against the best defenses, right? How many of those games did I break streaks of giving up 100-yard rushers against the top defenses? That's how I look at my career.
Right.
I don't look at numbers and, oh man, I had this many. I look at like, dog, this team don't give up Tampa Bay Bucks, Derrick Brooks and Rondé Barber and Dexter Jackson. Them people don't give up 100-yard rushers. 107. You know, like, that's how I look at my career. Like, the games that impacted, like the Eagles. What am I talking about? The Eagles had one of the best defenses in the NFL. They were in our division. The Giants with Osi and Strahan and Tuck. Like, bro, I'm busting these teams up, you know? So that's the way I judge my career. And a lot of people, the impact, prior to me, the impact of football, the Marshall Faulks, everybody was 28. Marshall Faulk, Fred T, all of this. The first 26 to pop on the screen, Anilius Williams out of Arizona, Robert Smith, Minnesota Vikings, me and Deuce played the same time. So the impact of 26. Every gangster in the league, 26 now. Look at the backs. So you telling me my influence on the game alone, like look at the impact that I had on the game. Why is everybody wearing 26? Right? So I had to have some kind of impact on football for that era. Like, look at the backs we had. I mean, look at you got Marshall Faulk, Priest, LaDainian.
I don't think we can name 5 running backs in your era and say not mention your name.
Dog, when you name 5 running backs in my era, look how many. Dog, you still talking about Corey Dillon and Curtis Martin and Warwick Dunn. Like, we had so many gangsters. So for you, people look like, oh, you only went to 2 Pro Bowls. What? I got cheated my first year, my rookie year. I should have went. I turned down a year because I felt like Philly, Brian Westbrook had an outstanding year. I think I was the first alternate. He was the second alternate. I just was like, man, you know what? He deserved that. So I didn't even go. Like I just was like, when they called me, like, hey, and then Sean Alexander, like all of that, bro, it was 32 teams. You had 24 backs that was competing for Pro Bowl.
Right.
Jamal Lewis, Jamal Anderson. How you going? Now it's the same backs. You're going to get the same backs every year. Mm-hmm. You really get the same players.
So watching this new era, give me your top 5 backs in the league right now.
McCaffrey. Jones up there in Green Bay. I think I still think Alvin Kamara is misused, but I think he's a weapon, a hell of a weapon. Saquon will probably be the most talented, misused, opportunity. Chubb and Henry, I just feel like they bigger than everybody else, man. Like if I'm watching the game and they get rolling, or you got linebackers at 230. These people punishing them. I wish I could have played against a linebacker that was 230. Instead of looking at Joey Porter or LaVon Kirkland or Ray Lewis, like Al Wilson, London Fletcher. Like the linebackers I played against were dogs. The safeties back then, safeties can knock your block off. Right. Sean T, the Troy Polamalu, who's like the Dexter Jacksons. Like safeties knock Brian Dawkins. Safeties used to knock your block off.
What would Clinton Portis do in this era of football?
I would have to be the face. You'll probably have to put me on the face when that little NFL logo falls. I think in this era, just mindset is totally different. I don't think in that era you knew it was up. You come across the middle, Ray gonna clear you out. Sean gonna clear you out. You had people, and if you got into that zone, they gonna bust you up. But now you don't have to worry about getting hit. Mm-hmm. So everything is just off to the races. It's in space. It's creating mismatches. Yeah, I think that's what made Coach Shanahan so good and Gary Kubiak. When I look at their staff, like they created mismatches before everybody else was creating mismatches. Right. So now when you look at Cal and all of the descendants from Cal, they create mismatches. That came from Mike and Coobs, They create mismatches, and that's where they go. So people look. I think we were having a discussion about McCaffrey, and I told you, McCaffrey he always in a mismatch, but he's still a dog. But if you remove McCaffrey and you put Debo in McCaffrey role, I think Debo still performs the same exact way.
If you were used like Christian McCaffrey is used, would you get 25 touchdowns in the season?
Hell yeah. But dog, you got to take your hats off to him. 25 touchdowns, you know how hard that is.
Is he? I asked you this yesterday. Is Christian McCaffrey the best white player to ever play football?
You got to be. I can't think of another one. you know. And of course, it's been, when you say the best white player, this includes quarterbacks.
Best white player to play football.
Now,
And we talking about all around athlete. Like I'm talking about like because
all around, a lot of quarterbacks not athletes, but when you say the best white player, it's hard to remove Tom Brady and
and Peyton Manning, but outside of the quarterback, let's take outside of the quarterback.
I would give it to Christian McCaffrey.
Okay. All right. We're gonna wrap this up in a couple of seconds. I got a couple like rapid fires for you. Your biggest regret professionally.
Retiring.
Speak on that.
I think I let the business of football get in the way. I couldn't separate it. I felt like I had done so much for our organization, and the business side, my personal relationship with a coach, not getting along with this coach, seeing this coach sacrifice himself, really, so that you fail. Like, he was willing to.
Who is that? Who you talking about?
One of the coaches we had.
Who that?
It was just one of the coaches we had. But to see a coach sacrifice his own career to kind of try to teach you, and if you notice, I talk highly about Coach Gibbs. I talk highly about Coach Shanahan. It's only one coach that I haven't mentioned. So you put that together, right? So in that coach, like, to see that coach sacrifice his career, to try and untangle your powers, it was crazy to me, because I gave everything. I felt like I gave everything I possibly could, in being in a mismatch. For Coach Gibbs, I run through a brick wall. For Coach Shanahan, I didn't have to run through a brick wall. He opened it up, right? I just had to listen. But when you see a coach like that's so stubborn to say, you know what, you gonna do it my way or the highway, I'm like, fuck your way, I take the highway, when Coach Shanahan came, it was kind of too late to bring it back because my mindset was already gone. Like, this personal problem with you, I end up walking away from football because I lost the love, right? For us, it wasn't about money. The money was great. It was about that name on the back of the jersey, like the love of the game. I'm playing this shit. Like, Portis gonna pop up on the bottom of ESPN on the 100-yard days, like that mindset. Or Portis gonna pop up from knocking the linebacker out. Like, I'm gonna have some kind of impact in this game that I was here. And then when that disappeared and I didn't care, it's like, man, this over, like, it's over. So I let that mindset defeat me because I was only 500 or 600 yards from Redskins all-time leading rusher, Yeah. But I walked away so prematurely out of emotion. So I think when I look back at that, although I was content with my decision, to look and say, you know what, it was premature and I probably should have waited, this would be the first time I acknowledge that.
Okay. Personal regret.
I think the personal regret would probably be relationships. I think of course, being a Southern guy growing up in the South, where it was about trust, like you find the best in people, and you ignore stuff that you shouldn't ignore,
right?
Because you only see the best in people. So trusting people put me in a situation to respond or I allowed people to hurt me, that I shouldn't have because I knew better and I knew you didn't have my best interest. But just hoping, oh man, you know what? This is a good person, you know. So I think trusting, not sticking to the guns, you know,
Yeah.
not really doing the due diligence in certain situations to trust people and allow people into your game room, you know. That would be personal. You know, a lot of stuff that I feel like I ended up in, which I always take responsibility and say I ended up in it, you know, because I trusted this person even though
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. So that would probably be it.
Final question for you. Message to your fans. What message would you like to share with your fans and supporters who followed your career?
I think my message to my fans would always be appreciation, you know, because for those voices, which in today's world we only really see the negativity, right? We only see the negativity. You can have a thousand positive, and that one negative comment is the one that stick out. But for those thousand positive, the support is appreciated. You know, when you get in some of the spots that I've been in, to be dark, to be closed off, to be isolated, you know, and you have the support of people, you have the support of true fans, you have, you know, like yesterday, I walked up and a guy just, I'm talking about the guy was standing at the bar and the first thing he said was, Dr. George Big, you know. I'm 42. This 15 years removed, 18 years removed from that situation, but to know that I left an effect on these people.
Yeah,
You know?
we still want you to bring it back, dog.
And-
You got to bring it back.
And then to be able to see, you know, how people respond to you. Like, motherfuckers see you like you supposed to be all the shit you done dealt with. You supposed to be on drugs. Like, I thought you was a crackhead by now type shit. So for a person to see you, I got all my hair, like, I don't have any grays. Like, I still look young. I'm still mobile. I'm still active. It's just it's a different respect or appreciation. So for my fans, I would always want my fans to know, like, the motivation or the appreciation always was, you know, maybe if you didn't acknowledge it or didn't seem like it was acknowledged, it was always appreciated. You know, the smaller things are what made me me, you know. As you just said about the characters, I didn't want to do the characters. That's just crazy. I opened a letter and it was a family saying thank you. I guess their grandmother had been ill, and you know they were all kind of waiting for her to kick the bucket, and my characters gave her life. So, and I never read my mail. Like, I never read my mail. To this day, I don't read my mail. But I never read my mail. Just that day, I happened to go in and say, you know, I'm going to respond to some fans. I'm going to sign a couple cards and send them back. I pulled that letter, and the family was so appreciative of my character, saying how the grandmother looked forward to him and how her energy has changed and how much she loved me. And, you know, like, it's brought their family back together. That's the only reason I was doing that. You know, like, I wasn't doing that for me because I realized the effect I was having on people from me showing my personality, or what did I gain from it? You know, like, I
You
wouldn't
gain
seek
more
attention.
fans. You gain me as a fan with that. I mean, like, because the reality is,
But I didn't know you, so I didn't know you was a fan of me.
But
you know?
it switches the perception, because we see you as the athlete, the running back. But now you bring this other level, and I talked to you about it yesterday. We now get to really see who Clinton Portis is on different levels, versus, because NFL kind of put you guys where you see the athlete and that's it. You don't get to, like, social media is kind of giving us more access, but prior to the social media age, we didn't really get to see inside of, like, how you guys operated.
But that's what was crazy. Like, we didn't have social media. You know, I think the personalities back then was T.O. Chad and me. You know, if you go back to the person, and Joe Horn, you know, those were the personalities of the NFL. And we were getting fined. We were getting in trouble, like,
Yeah.
to shine, you know, and we were dealing with it. So it was like you the personality, but to the NFL, you're like the villain, the outcast. Like you that little hard-headed kid that I'm tired of telling. You know, I was getting fines every week. I'm getting fines for my shoes. Now everybody got crazy shoes.
Yeah.
You know, like I was the first one with the gold bottoms, the metallic colors at the bottom.
The shoes to be clean too. I remember that.
Like,
yeah.
all this stuff that I was getting fined for, that's what you're doing now. Like that's your my cleat, you just figured a way to monetize it. So a lot of that stuff, when you look and you wonder like how so many players have issues or don't have relationships with the NFL, or guys hate it when they leave. I'm not at that point where I hate it. I still love the game. It's the business, like not doing it your way, and you kind of outcast.
Yeah.
It's like you asked me about the Hall of Fame. Like, why wouldn't I be on the ballot? If it's about on the field work, I did that. Every time you Google running backs, I got to pop up in the top. You can't erase the class of people I'm in. When you're talking about O.J. Simpson, Gale Sayers, Edgerrin James, and Barry Sanders, when you look my name on that list with those top 6 to 8 guys, every time in every category, my name on
Talk
the
heavy.
list.
Talk heavy.
That's crazy.
Talk heavy.
Right? I'm not saying
talk heavy.
Damien, I'm not saying my name is on the list with the guys that's etched in stone, that the O.J. Simpsons, these people affected the league in a different way and ran wild. I'm mentioned with Gale Sayers.
Crazy.
I'm mentioned with Walter Payton. Like, are you shitting me? But, for whatever, off the field, it's like, we're going to teach you. But it's been that way for me with off the field. And then I even think just some of my relationships, some of my relationships people didn't like. I had relationships with people that people didn't like, and I think that played a role of it too. But, it is what it is, man. I think I did the work that I was supposed to do, and this afforded me a lot of opportunity and a lot of access and showed me a lot of things, me and my family, a lot of things that we probably wouldn't have ever got a chance to see. So I'm appreciative, and I don't look back like, man, shit, let's get to tomorrow, It's just one of those, keep on fighting, keep on living, keep on doing it.
Get your ass
do it with
up.
a smile.
Name of the podcast.
Get your ass up.
Yeah.
Get your ass up. Clinton Portis tuned in on the Get Your Ass Up podcast.
Hey, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, man.